So, yeah, who wants to use your API? How do you collab with that? See, these are some of the, what is the revenue? Although this was a tricky one, I don't get too much into that because at the moment we're not sort of, we're not building, at least right now, APIs that are our products that generate revenue that I'm aware of.
They will generate revenue. I mean, even in large organizations,
Yeah.
even if you're not monetizing the actual API, when you consider that business pays you certain amount of money to get some functionality out.
Yeah.
If you are if you're using a API, or if you're dependent on an API, that API is generating revenue.
Yeah, like for example, maybe I'm trying to think, maybe some of our NDC type of APIs consumed by GDSs, in airline speak. They're selling tickets using that API. So yeah, perhaps. So and so on and so forth. So basically, yeah, I've been playing again. These 9 areas. Sometimes I find it that I feel myself rushed into all of these, right? We don't even, sometimes, even for simplest of APIs, it's fine. You go through this and say, okay, maybe you don't have key partners, there's a few key activities, key resources, of course, the big one here, cost. This is the one, one of the things I find in computer science is naming things is always a problem. It's always a challenge.
Yeah, for a creative group like developers, naming always, naming is where we always stumble and we come up with some really, really silly names.
Yeah. So, for example, so here's the thing. So, you see this here, API value proposition in the name of the API. I don't know if this is a coincidence, but sometimes we just circle on, we either start here with the name of the API, this is a project details, and then we just go straight here and don't really outline the capabilities that well, I think. And maybe I'm thinking, well, maybe you should focus on what's the value prop. And then from all of these, I think then derive this. But I find that this is a really tricky, this was fairly straightforward. Either you have the money, you don't, or etc. But this block right here, I find it the hard. One of the hardest portions of this, of the canvas. Again, like I said earlier, consumer segment, not too bad. This one's a tricky one as well. The channels, we treat, at least in our space on course, we treat like channels and consumer segments one and the same, probably a mistake, I think. And we don't deal right now too much with revenue streams, but eventually I usually get stuck between 1 and basically right here, 1 and 7, 1 and 7, 1 and 7, and so on and so forth. I think, yeah, maybe I'll find some software we can do Cycles. Now, having said that, I have a feeling that how do I convince teams to say, hey, you guys have an idea for API, great. How do I convince teams to basically go through this exercise? I think developers might be bored. I mean, how do I do I get into a conference room and say, okay, fine, let's have let's get together. How do I convince them to say, I think there's value in just outlining this, even whiteboarding.
Should developers be responsible for that, or should this be coming from the stakeholders, the ones who are funding the API or conceiving the API, the architects?
Right. Good point. So then I would get the business, right? Get the business. So say for example, product owners of the solution that's going to consume the API, right? Product owners, product managers, business analysts from the business, and the business analysts from the